Are you ready to love again? I hope the answer is yes. Welcome to Stop the Noise. Love has no expiration date. Hi, I'm Zorina Pritchett. I want to share with you how I learned to get over my disappointing relationships. Some call it let it go. It wasn't always easy for me. There was a lot of noise in my head from other people's opinions. STOP is an acronym, and it stands for Stopping the Opinions of People. They create noise in our heads when they go against our inner voice. Steve Jobs says, don't allow the opinions of other people to silence your voice. Or I guess he said really drown your voice, but I'm going to use silence because it goes with my title. I was able to do that. I finally made up my mind. I was going to stop the noise because for many years, I was ashamed of my relationships, particularly marriage. I was married 3 times. Yes, you heard me right, 3 times. Marriage is so sacred. I grew up in a Christian household. I was told you date, you court, you fall in love, you get married, and you live happily ever after. Of course, you know I was disappointed because that didn't happen to me 3 times. Now you're probably asking, is she desperate? What was going on with her? That was some of the noise I was hearing. Girl, you don't need to get married. Don't you need to sit down? Maybe you need to shack up or just date forever. One of my friends, she had a plan for us. When we retire, we're just going to get a house together and we're just going to live together and take care of each other like the Golden Girls. But that wasn't my inner voice. My inner voice was telling me, I want to love again, no matter how many marriages I had or relationships. And if your inner voice is telling you, you want to love again, I want to really hope my story resonate with you. Now, how did I get there? I just had enough. I had enough of the noise. I had enough of entering these relationships that were not going anywhere but taking up my time, my energy, and my money. Yes, we all know we invest in relationships, but I had enough. So one day I decided I was going to seek therapy. Now, I know some people don't like therapy, but it really worked for me. I was visiting a therapist and we were talking about some issues that I was experiencing. And he brought up relationship. Now that's taboo for me because remember at that time I was done. I had completely convinced myself I was done with relationships. Because see, it wasn't just romantic relationships that bothered me. I had some friendships, some co-workers, some business relationships. All of them contributed to my disappointment. And so as the therapist asked me about relationships, I quickly told him, I'm done with relationships. They don't work for me. I don't know what's going on. But I know it's not just me, but I'm done with them. And by the way, I've been married 3 times, so I had a failure at marriages. So we continued our session, and at the end, he said something to me. He says, I want you to know you did not have 3 failed marriages. I said to myself, that's different because everyone else made me feel like there was something wrong with me. I was questioning my judgment, my character, my motive, when simply I fell in love with 3 different men and it just didn't work out. So I thought to myself, not failure, huh? He went on to tell me, you had a right to leave unhealthy relationships. Listen to what I'm saying. You have a right to leave unhealthy relationships. Those relationships were unhealthy for me. Even though they were marriages, they were unhealthy. And because of the low self-esteem that I developed from those marriages, I found myself in other unhealthy relationships. And some of you are experiencing the same thing. I don't know if you know this, but when you're operating in low self-esteem, you get in unhealthy relationships, whether it's business, your careers, friendships. You make bad decisions when you're operating in low self-esteem. And that's what happened to me. And so as we continue to talk, he leaned back and he smiled. He said, 3 marriages, 3 different men. I have female friends that cannot get a date. They cannot get engaged. They can't even get close to marriage. How did you get 3 different men to marry you? I said, I don't know. My girlfriends kind of wonder that too, because they always say, you don't seem to have a problem attracting men. I don't have a secret for that. If you're looking for that, ladies, I don't have a secret for that. And then he went on and told me this. He said, after getting to know you, I can see why someone wants to love you. When I left my therapy sessions, it really lifted my spirit. I started looking at my situation differently. James Dyer says, Wayne Dyer to be correct, he says, when you change the way you look at things and the thing you look at change. I no longer saw my marriages as a failure. And so I was beginning to silence the noise. When my friends or family look at me side-eye, it didn't bother me anymore. When I fill out an application and it says single, married, divorced, I no longer have to hear 3 in my head. Now, how did I get there? My main principle of healing through your disappointing relationship, we all know the answer, but we ignore it. Self-care. That is what I started applying. Self-care. I started working on my mental, my emotional, and my physical, because over the years in operating in low self-esteem, I gained a few pounds, and I wanted to let that dead weight off me and get back to the gorgeous woman I was hoping to be. I started doing things like meditation, self-talk, hanging around people that were supportive, prayed a lot, and I continued my therapy sessions. And as time went on, I became happier with me, because no longer was I focusing my time, energy, and money on being disappointed in a relationship that should have ended. I was focusing on me. And during that time, my self-love improved. I was starting to love me. I also became self-aware. I mean, self-awareness is so beautiful when you know yourself. That self-care really paid off. Now, some of you probably saying to me, well, Zorina, I do self-care. Yeah, but are you doing the self-care to heal from that disappointment? Because my self-care was focused. It was about me now. It was about silencing the opinions of other people that created such a noise in my head. I had to let it go because it caused me a setback. Years ago, I remember I wanted to be a plus size model, even though my self-esteem wasn't quite the level it should be, but I auditioned and I got selected. However, I was in a really bad relationship that messed up my head and I didn't pursue that. In fact, it got to a point where I no longer felt I was attractive. That is the damage can happen when you're in an unhealthy relationship. And what are some of the lessons I learned from my journey of self-care? My one lesson is relationships do not define you. So many of us are losing ourselves in these relationships. We're giving all that we have to make them work. I knew I was in an unhealthy relationship, but I didn't want to have another failed marriage. But I learned that I had to learn how to define who I am. Who is Zorina? Who are you? Now, I'm not talking about a title. I'm Mrs. This. I'm a cousin. I'm an uncle. No. We need to know who we are. I need to know that Zorina's kind. Zorina's smart. Zorina's beautiful. Zorina's loving. Zorina likes humor. Zorina likes Asian movies. She likes jazz. She likes reggae. I can tell a potential date about me, just me and no titles. Do not allow the noise to convince you that you are attached to that relationship. No. So with self-care, I learned to be whole, which is so important because if I get into another relationship, I'm not going to lose myself in that relationship. If it ends, I'm going to dust my feet off, girl, and I'm going to keep moving because I am whole. I am giving this relationship a part of me, but not all of me. Another lesson I learned, relationships are not a brand of luggage that we must have at any cost. As I stated earlier, some of us are giving all of ourselves in a relationship. And when it does not work out, we're neatly packaging it in this imaginary luggage. Emotional abuse, low self-esteem, whatever, financial, whatever that is, you neatly package it in this luggage. And when that relationship ends, you pick it up and you go to the next relationship and the next relationship. And we all know it becomes baggage. My imaginary luggage was so heavy that I got to the point where that's why I said I didn't want to try a relationship anymore. Also, I didn't like the fact that I was judging my new companions based on my old companions. I remember I was dating this gentleman. He reminded me of my third husband. And I was like, oh no, I can't do with this. That gentleman had nothing to do with my last husband. I had to let it go. And I've done that many times, and maybe you have too. You're carrying that luggage of disappointment and you judging other people by past relationships. Let it go. How did I let it go? I started focusing on the relationship, the good part of the relationship, the parts that I felt that were good. Like I like walking, with a companion. I like going to the movies with a companion. I started focusing on the things that I got out of the relationship, not what was taken from me, because I believe it takes two people to build a relationship and it takes two people to let it go. And so I learned over time to let it go. And I am so happy. I learned to let that luggage go because I know the new person that's coming into my life, I am going to judge him in his authentic way, just like I want him to judge me and love me. Third, I learned that relationships, they're just experiences that give us an opportunity for personal growth. Because during my sessions, I discovered I communicate passive aggressively. And some of you are probably doing the same. I did not tell them what my needs were my expectations. I didn't share with them if they were getting anything really right or wrong. What I did in some instances, I just shut down as if they were mind readers. And then when things went wrong, I owned everything. I can only be accountable for my part in the relationship. So many of us try to own the whole relationship. No, it's not good. Just own your part and learn from your part that you contributed to that relationship. Another thing I discovered, I was bad in reading red flags. I told a therapist one time, I don't think men are ever going to love me. Maybe I'm not built for love. He said, that's not true. You're not recognizing the red flags. I found that to be true because as I grew in my self-care and my self-awareness, I began to see the red flags. In fact, I had been dating someone off and on for 8 years. You're probably saying, girl, y'all should have got married by now. Nope. I'm glad we did not. Because as I developed into my self-care and my self-awareness developed, I realized that he caught me during the period of time I had low self-esteem. So there were things about our relationship that I enjoyed. But as I began to heal from the shame of my previous marriages, I began to see the red flags in my current relationship. And I decided it was unhealthy for me. That's why looking at relationship as experiences and seeing how you can grow from that experience makes a lot of difference. Now, I realize that many of you are going through some setbacks right now. And maybe the setback of that relationship is going to hurt you financially. But I'm going to tell you, it is important to take care of yourself because you will be fine. There is no reason to stay in an unhealthy relationship so you can just say, I have someone. You have to learn how to protect your mental and your emotional. And some of you are taking yourself through a lot of bad journeys with your health because you're stressing. And then now, for those of you that cannot let go of a relationship, let it go. Move forward. Learn to love yourself. I remember people used to say that all the time. Self-love. You can't get into a relationship unless you love yourself. I understand that now because whether you're in a relationship or out of a relationship, you got to learn to love yourself. And so I want to challenge you this. This is your challenge. I want you to learn how to slay disappointment. This is how I slay disappointment too. One, I already told you, self-care. Do whatever it takes to make you whole again, make you happy. Because going into a relationship to make you happy, that's a no-no. You're supposed to be already happy. Now, you also want to list, what did you like about being in a relationship? I like walking together, holding hands. I like going to the movies. I like talking about politics. I like snuggling up to a horror movie, enjoying a great meal. List the things that make you happy in a relationship. Third, adjust your attitude. You got to adjust your attitude. So many of us, because of our disappointing relationship, we are just angry at any type of relationship. No, you had some good times in that relationship, it's probably as well as the bad, but adjust your attitude. And if you're having a difficult time adjusting your attitude, get an accountability buddy or put a Band-Aid on it, a rubber band, and just pop yourself. But you got to adjust your attitude. I was recently talking to a friend and I said, are you ready to get in a relationship? She's like, girl, I've been ready a long time. I said, are you ready to change? Oh, no, I'm not changing. If he can't accept me for who I am, I felt like that's the wrong answer because all of us need some kind of growth in a relationship to connect in a healthy way. And so if you're not willing to change, to look at yourself, because I'm going to tell you, it was hard, but it made a difference in my life because I am so happy and I'm ready for love again. And finally, what is it going to take for you to say yes to love? Because love does not expire. It's waiting on you to open up your heart and receive it. Whether it's romantically or friendship, whatever that is, it's waiting on you. Now you said, gee, I've been waiting a long time for some love, girl. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's she at? Where's she at? It doesn't matter. Just be open to it because there is no guarantees to love. I know that for myself. I tell you, my journey has been a long one. And for me to stand here today to share with you how I got over my disappointing relationship, particularly the shame of being married 3 times, the taboo behind that. Now, how do I know I'm over it? Let me tell you. I was at work one day. Coworker came up to me. Hey, Zorina, one of the girls was talking about how you had been married multiple times to this new bride. I said, okay, yeah, I have. What's up? What about it? Years ago, I couldn't have responded like that. Now I do not care. In fact, again, I have people telling me, what's your secret? I don't have one. But I will tell you this about me. I've always tried to be happy, friendly. You know, I'm not this big wall because that was love do for you. I come from a family of loving people that supported me. My aunt supported me and told me some good wisdom about loving and being confident in yourself, it was during those hardships, those disappointing relationships. Like I said earlier, my self-esteem plummeted. But with the self-care I received, I'm good. I am so good and I'm so happy. So if you really want to try love again, try slaying your disappointment. Do self-care. List what you like about being in a relationship. Adjust any negative attitudes that you have about a relationship. And say yes to opening up your heart. But most importantly, you have to remember to stop the noise. Learn to silence the opinions of other people that causes conflict with your inner voice that tells you, I want to love again. And remember, as you're going through the healing, love has no expiration date. It's just waiting on you. Because at the end of the day, whether you get in a relationship or not, you have increased your self-love and you are ready to open your heart to the world and achieve whatever you want to achieve in this lifetime, whether it's building your business, getting that promotion, whatever that is, be open to love because there are people finding love in nursing homes. And if they can find it in a nursing home, you can find it as well. Thank you for joining. Stop the noise. Love has no expiration date.